Hello, today we're going to talk about inverse variation. So, whenever you have two variables that are inversely proportional, that means that one variable is multiplied by a constant when the other one is going to be divided by the same constant. If y is inversely proportional to x, then that means that y is directly proportional to the inverse of x, or what we call the reciprocal of x, which is 1 over x. So if we say that y is directly proportional to 1 over x, then that means that we are going to have the equation y is equal to k times 1 over x, which will then simplify and be y is equal to k divided by x. And from this equation, if we wanted to know what our k would be, our k would end up being x times y if we were to solve that equation for k there. So our constant of proportionality will literally just be multiplying the x and the y value together. So for example 1, it says if y varies inversely with x, and we know that y is equal to 18 when x is equal to 6, we want to find the following. The first thing I want to find in part A is I want to find the value of y when x is equal to 54. Well, what you have to understand is the fact that they told us that y varies inversely with x, which means that y is directly proportional to the inverse of x, which is just 1 over x. Remember, inverse means reciprocal. And I know that from here, my equation will end up being y is equal to k divided by x. So the first thing I need to do is I need to find what k is. So I'm going to use y is equal to k divided by x. I'm going to use this information first. So they already told us that when y is equal to 18, when x is equal to 6. So if I substitute those values in, I will see that I will end up getting 18 is equal to k divided by x, which is 6. And I know if I multiply both sides by 6, I will end up getting that k is equal to 108. So now that I know that k is equal to 108 in this scenario, what I can then do is I can look at what y is when x is equal to 54, because now I have my equation. My equation is now going to end up being y is equal to 108, because that is our k value, divided by x. So now when I want to approximate what y is, or find what y is when x is equal to 54, all I have to do is just substitute in 54. So 108 divided by 54 is equal to 2. So I know that my y value here is equal to 2. So that is my answer for part A. Now for part B, they want us to find the value of x when y is equal to 25. So remember, our k value is 108. So I'm still going to be dealing with the same equation here. So because I know that y is equal to 108 divided by x, if I say that y is 25, I'm going to substitute in 25 for y. So that's going to be 25 is equal to 108 divided by x. So now I just have to solve for x. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x. That's going to be 25 is equal 25x is equal to 108. And then we're going to divide both sides by 25. So I know that x is going to be equal to, if I do 108 divided by 25, I end up just getting 108 over 25 as a simplified fraction. Or if you wanted to, you could put it in decimal form by pressing math and then number 2 and go to decimal, and then that will be the same thing as having 4.32. So that's what x can be. You can either put it in fraction form or decimal form. It does not matter. right? So that is how we do part B. So the next thing we want to talk about is powers and inverse variation. So just like direct variation, whenever you have inverse variation, you can have exponents as well. So whenever we talk about it, we can say very similar to direct variation. If we say that y is directly proportional to the inverse of x squared, that is basically saying y varies indirectly with x squared. Okay, we know that when we say vary indirectly, we mean that it's directly proportional to the inverse or the reciprocal. So the equation that will model this will end up being y is equal to k divided by x squared in this case. So what we will have to do is use that equation. So for example 1, parts A and B, it says suppose that h is inversely proportional to n squared. So if I say that h is inversely proportional, it means that it varies directly or it is directly proportional to the inverse. So that's going to be 1 over n squared. And that means that my equation will end up being h is equal to k divided by n squared. So because I have this equation, I want to use this equation to find what k is. So they gave us some information here. They have already told us that h is equal to 36 when n is equal to 7. So I'm going to find what k is by using this information here. So I'm going to have my equation as 36 is equal to, I don't know what k is, so that's going to be k divided by, and then we have 7 squared. So that's going to be 7 squared here. So in order for me to do that, I already know that 7 squared is 49. And if I multiply both sides by 49, I know that 36 times 7 squared of 49 is equal to 1,764. So I know that I have 1,764. That is going to be equal to k here. All right. So if this is my value for k, my equation will actually be h is equal to 1,764 over n squared. So that will be the equation that I will be using. So now I can actually answer the question, what is h when n is equal to 21? So if I know that n is equal to 21, I'm going to have h equals 1764 divided by 21 squared. So if I put that in my calculator, I will end up getting 4. So here I will say h is equal to 4. So that is my answer. All right. So now let's look at part B. Part B says we need to find n when h is equal to 84. So we already know that n has to be greater than 0, and that's fine. So if we have h being equal to 84, the equation that we're going to have is 84 is equal to 1,764 divided by n squared. So the first thing that I want to do is multiply both sides by n squared. So I'm going to have 84 n squared is equal to 1,764. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 84. So I get 1764 divided by 84. and we end up getting 21. So I know that n squared is equal to 21. And then, of course, we know that the opposite of squaring is to take the square root. So if I take the square root of both sides, I will end up getting that n is equal to the square root of 21. Or if you want to put it in decimal form, you can, and you can round it to 3 sig fig. So we can say that it's approximately equal to 4.58. If you want to write it in its exact form, leave it as just the square root of 21. In its approximate form, then you want to put it as 4.58 and 3 sig fig. So if you have any questions on inverse variation, please let me know, and have a great day.